Okay, good morning. Welcome to class, everyone. Tara, welcome to class. My name is Jason Cade. I'll be your professor for the course. How are you doing this morning?
Very good, thank you.
Excellent. Okay, good. How's your first week of class going?
It's going slow,
Going
but I'm
slow.
glad. Yes.
Yeah. Chapter 1 and 2, uh, chapter 1, especially the first part of it's not real exciting. The history of taxation, everyone's a little bit tough reading, but it's something to make note of. We don't focus a whole lot on that. Obviously, there's more exciting topics out there than that, so uh, don't discourage you from reading it, but definitely something you might want to make note of. Today in the live chat, everyone, we're going to be working on Chapter 1, Chapter 2. I'll start out, do a little bit of introduction about the course and where we're going to be going with it. Talk about some of the expectations. We'll go over the late policy on the syllabus, all that type of stuff. And then we're going to get in. We'll talk about our week 1 discussion. We'll go over the assessment. I'll give you some areas to focus on for that. And then we'll go through the homework assignment. Make sure you're squared away on that as well. One of the things I did want to point out, Tara and everyone else listening to the recording, is that if you go to the announcements section, you'll see that I put a homework help template there, if you want to call it that. It's just a document that I made up to help you out with the week 1 homework, chapter 1, chapter 2 problems that were assigned for this first week. So we'll take a look at that in the live chat as well, but just let you know that homework guide I think will definitely help you, or I know it'll help you, and you'll want to use that, okay? And it's found in the announcements section as well, okay? All right, guys, let me officially welcome you to class, Accounting 233, Taxation. We have a great class in store. We're going to be working with a lot of returns, a lot of different situations, a lot of cases. So we get to do a lot of hands-on work in our tax course, which is a positive thing, right? We're going to learn about in this course how to calculate adjustable gross income, taxable income. We'll be looking at what's the standard deduction, itemized deductions. When are you better to take itemized versus standard? We'll look at exemptions. We're going to look at tax credits. We'll look at filing all the tax returns, 1040, 1048, 1040EZ. We'll also look at filing the supporting documents when required, things like maybe miscellaneous form 999. So we'll look at all that type of information as we proceed through this course. So I hope you're as excited as I am to get started. We're going to focus most of our time on the back half of Chapter 1, first part of Chapter 2 in the live chat today, so we can try to help you get squared away for the homework. Okay, so that's for what we have in plan today. Does that sound like a good plan to you, Tara?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. I'm sorry if I aggravate you asking you questions all the time, but and others attending. But I like to have an interactive live chat. Um, it shouldn't just be a one-way deal. I view these chats as our class time, and so we'll continue to interact with all the students in attendance. And I just view this as our time. It's not just my time. It's just a give and take between all of us. Okay. So keep that in mind with the live chats. Also, when we're thinking about these live chats and the format of them, anytime you have a question or concern, just feel free to jump right in. You don't have to wait until some type of official question time or anything like that. Just you got a question, jump right in, throw it out there, and I'll stop as soon as I can to take care of your questions. Okay, so that's generally how the live chats are formatted. Well, guys, with that being said, and also, I guess, guys, I've been hanging around these live chats for about 8 years now, a little over 8 years. And I've always found that the best live chats are ones where students ask the most questions. So the more questions you can ask, the better the live chat. And for several reasons, but obviously for those listening to the recording that weren't able to attend and ask questions, you're actually helping those students out as well because they probably have the same questions. All right, guys, a bit about like expectations, what you can expect from me and what I'll expect from you. You can expect that I will return all emails within 24 hours, most of the time much quicker than that. I check email multiple times a day. Just remember, I would never ever not return a student's email. So if you send me an email, you've not heard anything back within 24 hours, then I encourage you to pick the phone up and call me, because that means either I didn't get your email or you didn't get my response. Okay, so somehow there's a tech issue. So our backup plan is just pick the phone up and call me. My phone number is listed on the course homepage, on the syllabus. It's also on the announcements page as well. So keep that in mind, guys, okay? I'm always here to help. And a great way for me to help you if you get stuck on, say, doing one of the returns is save your work, email it to me, and let me look it over. And I can help provide suggestions to get you back on track as well. So that's a great way for me to help you, is save your work and send it to me, email it to me. Another source of help, which is really very good for this course as well, is the tutoring department. Okay, I encourage you to utilize the tutoring department. The way I look at it is you're paying for it, right? It's all built into your tuition, so you might as well use every resource that you're paying for and get the most out of it that you can. So I encourage you also to look at using the tutoring department also, okay? Let's see, as far as those are expectations for me, grading, most time I'll grade on Tuesdays. If I get wrapped up into some meetings, then I may have to complete grading Wednesday morning, but either way, all grading is always posted by noon Mountain Time on Wednesday after the phase is closed, okay? So phase 1 grades will be posted by next Wednesday, noon Mountain Time. That way, when you know when you can expect those. Now, in the feedback and the grading, guys, I provide as much feedback as possible. If something still gave you trouble and maybe still not quite understanding what you missed or why you missed it, then hey, shoot me an email. Ask for more examples or more feedback or more clarification, okay? Partly it's because, like, the feedback boxes, they limit us on the amount of text that we can put in there. So always feel free to reach out for more help, okay? All right, so we've talked about that. Now, expectations for students in the course. Trust me, guys, I know that learning tax and learning tax code may not be the most exciting thing for a lot of students. Just try to motivate yourself internally to do this. There are a lot of job opportunities in tax preparation if you choose to go this route. Okay, there is a lot of opportunity in that. You're definitely going to need to read the chapters in this course. Just simply for the fact is, unless you've already prepared taxes for a living, you're just not going to know any of it, right? And live chats are good, but we really focus in on certain points on the homework and help you through the homework, so that helps as well. But understanding the whole tax code and all the content and the background of it is going to take reading the chapters. Okay, it's going to take reading the chapters. So definitely read the chapters, and also, guys, and Tara has some experience with Liberty. Clients are going to want to know why they can't take this deduction, why they can't take that deduction. So the more you read your book, the better you're going to be able to communicate with clients as to why things are the way they are. If you can explain the tax code to them, clients have a sense of a higher value they're getting for your services. So it's always good to understand the whole background. And also, when you're looking at the tax laws, try to think about why it is the way it is. Okay, dig deeper and think, I wonder why capital gains tax rates less than income tax rates. Why would that be? Okay, so think about that question as you read through these chapters, and that will really get you to a higher level of understanding, and you're able to communicate more to your clients. Okay, well, Terry, you're working for Liberty, so it's really starting to get the busy time of the year for you, isn't it? Next week you'll probably be extra busy, I would assume. Obviously, because all the W-2s have to be mailed out by the end of the month, right? Yep. Exactly. I got a little stat for you. You know, H&R Block, uh, they kind of have an image of being, seems like to a lot of people, I guess, based on their commercials, a good tax preparing firm, right, or business. I spoke with an IRS agent in the state that I live in, and he told me that 59% of H&R Block's return they file are incorrect. There's errors on them. So they're roughly right at 60% of their returns are wrong. And I'm not sure if it's just their lack of training or the software they're using. I'm not sure what that's about, but that I found that to be a surprising number. I would have thought maybe something like 10%. 20% at the most, but I figured 10%. But they're on the opposite end of that, so I thought that was interesting. So, guys, we have a great need out there for accurate tax preparation as well. Okay. Now, along those lines, if you're looking at trying to build your resume for when you get that degree in accounting, and let's say you don't have any accounting experience, I'll give you a great program. I'll type it in. It's called VITA. VITA is an acronym. It stands for the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, and it's an IRS program. And just about every small city, even in the country, has a VITA site. You can find them at the public library, different local and state agencies. And volunteer income tax assistance is what it means. Volunteers show up and they complete tax returns for individuals. They help them file their returns. Most of the time it's for low income or the elderly. So you're not doing complicated returns, usually just 1040 EZs for the most part, okay, or short 1040. So the VITA program is a solid program. And the reason it's a solid program is that the IRS will train you. I think it's an 8 or 9 week course. You take it free. It's online through the IRS. And after you successfully complete it, you're now certified by the IRS to complete tax returns. Excuse me. And you can volunteer at a VITA site in your local town. It doesn't have to be anything extensive, a couple hours a week, and go there and volunteer your time. And that's a great way to get some experience on your resume. You get a certification from the IRS. So you start building that resume to when you do get your degree. Now you have some tax preparation experience and you're becoming more employable all the way, right? Okay. And it looks good that you volunteered some of your time for your local community also. So there's an option for those of you that do not have any accounting experience or tax prep experience and looking to break into the industry. Okay, so those are some things to think about, guys, as well. Other expectations for students along with reading the chapters is that you'll stay on track. The course moves very quickly. We're in a 4-week format, so we're knocking out 2 to 3 chapters a week. So once this ball gets rolling, it isn't going to stop. So if you get behind, it's really hard to get caught up and just about impossible to get caught up and turn in good quality work, isn't it? So try your best. If you know you're going to be out of town, those types of things, you got a busy week of work coming up next week, try your best to work ahead and stay on track. Okay? And the biggest thing to remember is just always reach out for help. If you ever have any question or concern, remember, guys, I'm here for you. My goal is that everyone in the class gets an A. So I'm going to work hard, and if you work hard, we should be able to make that happen. Okay? So let's dig in and get things rolling. Let's look at our syllabus. A couple things I'll point out on the syllabus real quick. Hey, if you go to your syllabus, download it, and you look below the grading scale, you're going to see the late work policy. The university late work policy is that you have 1 additional week past the original due date to submit late work. But once you pass that original due date, it does cost you 20% of your grade. And after you exceed the 1 week past the original due date, no late work can be submitted. That's the policy for the first 3 weeks of the course. The last week of the course is a little bit different. The course ends completely at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time on Saturday. So 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time Saturday, week 4, the course ends, and the university says no other work can be submitted past that point. The reason being is the course is closed, it's over with, and then the final grading process starts to begin shortly thereafter that. And we have to have, as faculty, we have to have the final grades turned in on that Monday. So that's the process. Tara, any questions on any of that administrative stuff? And that's the only time we'll have to go over all that stuff. All right, good deal. Let's go in and let's take a look at our week 1, okay? Let's look at module 1. When you get to module 1, you're going to see that we're reading chapters 1 and 2. You're really getting started out deriving taxable income, looking at adjusted gross income, looking at deductions for and from adjusted gross income. What's our standard deduction, looking at exemptions, things of that nature. That's, for the most part, what we're working on with chapters 1 and 2, okay? Your second homework problem, 2-39, is based on what type of tax return form should be filed for each situation. You're given, I think, 5 different situations. Should it be a 1040, 1040A, or 1040EZ? Should they be filing head of household, single, those types of things, okay? So that second homework problem you guys won't have any problems with. That's just a matter of looking those qualifications up for who should file 1040 or 1040A or 1040EZ. You can just dig back in your chapter 2 and look those things up. So it's a fairly easy homework problem. When you get to week 1, after you see that we're covering chapters 1 and 2, if you go down to the week 1 introduction to taxation, determination of tax readings and tools, you'll see all the information we're covering and completing for week 1. And also you'll see the PowerPoints. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 PowerPoints are located there. Just a bit of a warning. Don't do what I did when I first took a tax class. I thought that, hey, I could listen to the lecture, look over the PowerPoints, I'm good to go. Well, guys, that just doesn't quite cut it, because the PowerPoints are just an outline of the chapter, okay? Not much more than an outline. And there's so much more information you need to know to be able to complete the tax returns that are included in the readings of your chapters. So it took me about 2 chapters to figure that out, and then I thought, well, I'm not going to do so well if I don't go back and start reading. So take it from me, just start out reading those chapters and your life will be a lot easier. Okay, after that, guys, you'll see that we have our discussion boards get going with our introduction discussion board. This is a great time to get to know each other, encourage and interact as much as possible, and work on those introductions. I know from my college experience that the people I got to know in college, we still help each other to this day. So you build a really great network of other people that are going to be successful, right? So the more successful people you can know, the better off you are. So really think about reaching out and getting to know people on that intro discussion board. I look forward to getting to meet each and every one of you as well. Let's look at our actual discussion board number 1 now. We've got a very interesting discussion board. Before we go over the question, I need to just communicate a little bit about the expectations for formatting and things of that nature for your discussion forums. Won't have to go over this part anymore after this point, so if you can hang with me a little bit, I'd certainly appreciate that. So your main post, guys, if you look at the instructions, should be 150 words or more and formatted in APA. Now, everyone, we are on the APA 6th edition. Let me type that in for you, and I'll give you how to find some great information. If you Google what I just typed in, APA 6th edition Purdue OWL, it's a great APA resource. Maybe a lot of you are already using it, or if you haven't found it yet, excellent source of information. Anything and everything you need to know about APA 6th edition, it's on that website. There's examples for everything as well. So utilize that. So with your discussion board answer post, guys, in this class, you need to have one APA formatted reference. And also, when you list that reference in your reference list, you have to have an in-text citation. Okay. Also, when it says 150 plus total words, that's total words. That's in your own words. Okay. Try to refrain from going out and just getting a quote, say a paragraph long, and thinking, well, there's 125 words, and then just posting a couple sentences under that for your discussion board answer. That's not going to get you any credit. So let's stay away from doing that. Okay. So it's 150 of your own words. So those of you that are planning on going to graduate school, okay, you'll learn a little more about academic writing before you get to that point in your upper level classes here. But writing and academic writing essentially means no direct quotes. It's all about researching, looking at least 2 or 3 different references on the subject, and then forming your own opinions and thoughts backed up by research. So what they call that is researching and synthesizing the information. You synthesize it into your own thoughts and opinions. Okay, so we should try to avoid ever using a direct quotation in any academic writing. That's how we learn, isn't it? Essentially. So those are the expectations for the level of work that we are looking for on your discussion board answer posts. Okay. After you get your answer post done, then it's time to interact with other students. You need 2 responses to other students. Each of those responses should be 50 words or more, and I'll give you a suggestion on that as far as responding to others. You should look at pointing out one thing you agree with, one thing you disagree with, and why. If you can do that, it will help you out with the quality, and you can basically ensure that you'll get all the points needed for your responses as well. Your responses are worth 20% of your grade, and then the answer post will be worth 80%. That's how it's broken down, okay? All right, Tara, any questions on any of that type of stuff? I promise, guys, that's the last time I'll have to go through that. Okay, good. Now let's just talk about some of this content. Thank goodness. All right, guys, looking at our discussion board question. There's a lot of recent media coverage on the United States use of the progressive tax system. For example, the more money you earn, then you pay a higher percentage in tax. Locate an article in the library and Shark that focuses on progressive and other types of tax systems. Answer whether you feel our system is fair. What alternative method would you propose? Be sure to cite some outside sources to support your conclusion. Okay, guys. So, first thing is, I'm not going to limit you to just library or Shark. Feel free to use Google to find articles on this topic, okay? So you're wide open to the internet about locating articles on this. In fact, it'd probably be kind of hard to find an article through the library on this. Okay, so let's think about this system that we have. And what we're about to talk about is going to take out about the first half of Chapter 1, by the way, okay? Our progressive tax structure, as it's discussed in Chapter 1, as you read it, you'll see that, in essence, the more money you earn, the more you're going to pay in taxes, okay? And not just because it's based on a flat percentage, your percentage of your income increases with the more money that you make, okay? Now, there are arguments for this type of system. There's arguments against this type of system. Okay. So, Tara, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think that the progressive tax structure is good the way it is, or not so good? What's your thoughts on it? We can make a good argument both ways for it, right? Let's make an argument for it. Okay, let's make an argument for it. Okay. I also have a background in economics, and we know that currently the way things are, once your income exceeds $250,000 a year, from that point on, you pretty much don't spend any more of it. Okay, on average, because you've met all your basic needs, you've got most things that you want. We're just talking about average people, okay, normal people, I guess. So the rest of that money is just saved, just going into the bank. Okay. So if you're making 250,000, that's kind of, if you're making over 250,000, that's the situation. If you're making $25,000 a year, you know, and you have others to support and things of that nature, it's really hard to make ends meet. It's really tough. You may be picking up an extra job on top of that. These individuals aren't, a lot of times, can't get all their basic needs met. It's tough. So thinking about the progressive tax system, is society better off? That's how we measure things and how we think about all of our tax code guys, as I mentioned right off the bat, figure out why the laws are written the way they are. Why do we have this progressive tax system? Well, the laws are written based on the premise that how does it benefit the greatest number of good? Okay, so are more people benefited by the progressive tax structure or some other system like the flat tax we'll talk about in a minute? Well, I think you can make an argument that more people are benefited by the progressive tax structure. Okay, if those individuals that can't meet ends meet are getting taxed even more or taxed the same as someone else that they don't even really know how much money they make because they're so comfortable, then how is society better off, right? I think we can see the answer to that. That's why the progressive tax system's in place, and it's still in place because it benefits the greatest number of good in society. Okay, that's the big argument for it. Now, the argument against it, we can make a very good case against it. Okay, the progressive tax structure. Why should the percentage go up based on the more money someone makes? Why should someone making $250,000 have to give up 35% of their income to the government when someone making $25,000 is giving up 15% at the most? So why do we penalize someone that maybe has gone to college, gone on to different schoolings, went on and gained extra certifications, someone that maybe is working 80 hours a week, maybe someone that has an extra job, 2 or 3 jobs, maybe someone that has built their business from scratch and now they're finally up making and built a business and created jobs for others to earn a living? Why should we penalize them for their success? Are we penalizing those that have been the movers and shakers, that have made a difference, that have created jobs and businesses? Are we penalizing those folks and then rewarding others that could be doing more maybe? Maybe someone's only working part-time and they could easily work full-time if they wanted, but they choose to work part-time. and they don't have to pay any taxes. So that's the argument against the progressive tax system, that you're punishing success and rewarding those who are not as successful. So how is society better off? Do you want to reward success, or do you want to reward underperformance? How do you build a successful country and society? That's the argument, guys, against the progressive tax system. Okay? So I think you can see that both sides of that argument are substantial, aren't they? Okay? You can completely understand, I think, both sides of the argument. So it's a tough thing. Now, the alternative methods to the progressive tax system, like the other part of your discussion board talks about, and chapter 1, by the way, we're talking about. One example is the flat tax. Okay? The flat tax. So we'll say that everybody in the country has to pay $2,000 in federal income taxes. That, just because you make $250,000 and I make $25,000, we're no different. Okay, I should have to pay the same amount of taxes as you pay because we both drive on the same roads. We both use the same amount of government services. I'm not consuming any more of the fire department's time than what you are, and vice versa. So every American stands on their own 2 feet, and everyone pays the same. That's the argument for the flat tax. What's your thoughts on that, Tara? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's a flat tax. On the surface, it seems like that is fair, doesn't it? If I'm a politician, on the surface, I think I could probably sell that to voters. But let's dig a little deeper into this. Is the flat tax really flat? Is the flat tax really flat? There's articles out there on this as well. It's not, is it? If we really break down the numbers, if I'm paying $2,000 a year in taxes and I'm making $25,000, we'll keep the math easy. If I'm making $20,000 a year and I have to pay $2,000 in income taxes, okay, and Tara, you're making $200,000 a year and you have to pay $2,000 in income taxes. Well, I'm making $20,000 a year and I got to pay $2,000. That's 10% of my income, isn't it? Okay. You're making $200,000 a year. That's only 1% of your income. So the flat tax really isn't flat, is it? So that's the argument against the flat tax. Okay. So it's all based on the income level, isn't it? The other system that's touted out there quite a bit is called the consumption tax. So instead, we do away with the IRS, the whole income tax category gone. No one has to file income tax returns. So we just go to consumption tax. So how this would go is that just like we have state sales taxes, you'd have federal sales taxes as well. So they'd tax an additional 4 or 5 cents a dollar on all the items we consume, and it's called a consumption tax. And the federal government would get their revenue that way. Okay, so and the argument for that, a lot of people say that that takes away the flat tax issues of not truly being flat. People with more money spend more money, so they're going to pay more in taxes. People with less money are going to purchase less things, so they pay less in taxes. Sounds like a pretty solid plan, doesn't it? Okay. That's the pros for it. The issues against the consumption tax. And again, these are mentioned all in your chapter 1, guys. The issues against consumption tax is, again, going back, I'm making $20,000 a year. I'm paying taxes on all of the basic necessities, right? And that's a larger percent of my income than what it is of yours, right? If we both go to the grocery store and we had to pay an extra $12 in federal sales tax, well, that $12 is a larger percentage of my weekly paycheck than what it is of yours because you're making $200,000 a year. And when you get into higher income levels, like we mentioned, it's usually not spent. The savings rate goes up with the more money you make, the percentage of income you save increases. So that money is being socked away somewhere and not being spent. So therefore, there's not as many taxes being paid. Okay. I haven't changed them yet. Sorry, Tara, I hadn't changed them yet. I'll get into that when we get into our homework. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to throw you off on that. That's okay. Yep. I guess I'm not one that kind of reads from PowerPoints, as you can tell. Kind of like when you know this stuff, you really don't read from it. So, yeah. It always drove me crazy when I went to college when I had a professor that just read PowerPoints to me. Because I thought, I can read for myself. So, give me some insight. All right. Okay. So, that's our discussion board, guys. And those are some of the things I'd like to see talked about when it talks about when you feel our system is fair, what alternative method would you propose, things of that nature. Okay, so at the end of your discussion board answer post, I'd love for you to say, I think the progressive tax system is the best, and this is why. Or, I don't think the progressive tax system works, and here's why. Okay, so form an opinion from your research on this discussion board. Form that opinion and support it and throw it out there. And I promise you, you're going to have people disagree with you no matter which way you go on it. That's for sure. Which makes a great discussion board. All right. So Terry, any questions on that discussion board? And we've talked about most of chapter 1 at this point, or at least half of it. Any questions on any of that? Okay. Let's go down and take a look at the quiz. Okay, our quiz, guys. Right now it's set for 90 minutes. You have 10 questions. Of those questions, you've got like one fill in the blank problem and a couple other multiple choice problems that's based on your homework. Okay, set for 90 minutes. I thought about bumping that up to 120 minutes, giving you 2 hours because you do have those problems. What's your thoughts on that, Terry? Do you think that'll work for you? All right, let's do it because I really want to see everyone do well. Okay, I'm making that change right now. Okay, let me double check, make sure it went through. Boom, there it is. 120 minutes. Good deal. All right, this part of live chat is where I go through the assessment. I'm going to give you some areas to focus on, try to help you prepare because I know you got a couple chapters of content you're digging through and working with. And this will kind of help narrow down your focus a little bit. Okay, we got a question on here about what all should be included as technically income and what all is not technically considered to be income. Okay, so when you look through those items, you'll see a lot of this mentioned in Chapter 1, and some of it also mentioned in Chapter 2, but they give you a list of items, and they want to know, out of these lists of 5 things, which one is not income. Okay, so they want to know which one is not income. And when you see that list, it's going to be fairly easy. Okay, got another question on here. They give you like a little situation. They give you taxable income and the amount of taxes that are paid for 2 individuals, and they want to know, is this system progressive, proportional, regressive, or none of those? They also want to take a look at, you got to know what the tax law is. What do we mean by the tax law? You'll find that in Chapter 1. We got a little question on here about deriving, want to know what the taxable income of an individual is. They give you a salary and some itemized deductions, and they want to know what your taxable income is. Question on here about horizontal equity. That's found in Chapter 1 as well. What does horizontal equity mean? They give you a list of certain types of taxes, and they want to know which one is progressive. List of items, and they want to know which ones are considered to be part of gross income. They want to know, how do you define taxable income? And then question 9 is a fill in the blank question. And it's just like your first homework problem. Okay, they give you a single individual. She has no dependents. They give you her salary and her itemized deductions, and just compute her taxable income. I promise you, it's easy. You guys are going to do well. The last question, they give you a situation about a person who's single. She's taking care of her underage brother and a niece that's 21. Some other issues that are going on about being full-time students, stuff like that, and support. And at the end of the day, they want to know, how many personal and dependency exemptions can this person claim? Okay, you're going to gain that information from Chapter 2, by the way. Okay, and all you got to do is look up the tests in Chapter 2 about who can qualify as a dependent and who can't. Okay, and if you can claim yourself or not. Okay, those types of things, and all that from question 10's in Chapter 2. And that's pretty much it, guys. Don't be nervous about the assessment. You got 2 hours to do it. I promise you're going to do very well. Work on the homework. Use the guide that I have set up for you, and I expect everyone to do very well on it. Okay. Tara, any questions, concerns about the quiz? Nope. Well, I think this will be very, very easy for you, Tara. We're used to working with all these terms and things of that nature. But it will be good for you to prepare all these things by hand. It's going to be painful. Not using software, because if that's what you're used to, but it will be good for you to prepare these things by hand. And I think you'll have probably a greater understanding after the class as well. And sometimes you'll pick up when the software's not correct even after you prepare your returns by hand several times. I know TurboTax, I always find issues with it. Right. Well, that's good. They trained you by hand. Excellent. Okay. Good. I had a couple students that went through the training program for Liberty and worked for them. Yeah. It seemed like they had a solid program. I know that company is growing. Yeah. I know they're franchising out a lot. And I'd say they're growing because H&R Block seems to have quite a few issues. Okay. Guys, what I'm going to do now is I want to share something else with you. Yep, that's right. Okay. So, guys, what we have here is our first homework problem, Chapter 1, 1-39. And just for the record, you can access your textbook by going to modules. And after you go to modules, it's about the second link down. Look for the words that say virtual source ebook. Click on that, and that's how you can access the book. Okay, and when you get that opened up, let's go to chapter 1. And our problems begin on chapter 1 on 1 dash. Oh, my book just closed out. I got to reload it in. 1-34, I think, is where our problems begin. Let me get back into my ebook. Sorry for the delay, guys. How long have you been working for Liberty, Tara? While I get my book loaded. Okay. Okay. Just going. Okay. Well, this class is pretty good timing for you then, isn't it? Do you like it so far? Oh, well, good. Excellent. Maybe I'll send my taxes to you and you can do them then. I always find tax season be very challenging to find the time to do them. Right. You know, some people do pretty well opening up their own tax service, and I think you need to combine that with the payroll business. You can do payroll and taxes, and you can build a solid little business out of that. Yep. If you enjoy doing taxes, yeah. definitely. Yeah, so you've always done your own taxes as well. Yeah, I see that. Okay, guys, if you go to page 134 in your ebook, we'll take a look at our first homework problem. It's homework 1-39. Okay, and I'm reading from the book, and it says that Letitia is a single taxpayer. She had the following income deductions for the tax year 2012. They gave us her salary of $60,000, her business income of $25,000, interest income from bonds were $10,000, tax exempt bond interest of $5,000. So her total income was $100,000. Then she had some deductions, of business expenses of $9,500. Her itemized deductions were up there pretty good at $20,000 for that level of income, and her personal exemption, no one else can claim her, so it was $3,800. Now, guys, I want to point out that we're using the 2012 tax rate schedules. So make sure when you start working on all of our information in this class that you go to the 2012 tax rate schedules. Now, those are at the beginning of your textbook. Okay, they're at the beginning of your book, or you can go to the irs.gov, which is the link I provided you on the homework template as well. Okay, so we're giving all of our information, her total income, total deductions, and we're supposed to compute Letitia's taxable income and her tax liability for 2012. So let's look at the homework template. So I have the categories listed, kind of give you a big head start here. Salary, business income, and interest income are all listed as part of her income. Hey, I left one thing out. What did I leave out? They gave us 4 things in the information, didn't they? Okay. Yep. I left out the interest from the bonds, didn't I? Okay, those were municipal bonds, in other words. The interest received on municipal bonds are not taxable at the federal level. Okay, so municipal bonds, bonds from cities and states are not taxed at the federal level. That's tax-free interest. So that's why we just have 3 categories listed here. So add that up and you get her taxable income. So good deal. We got the first part of letter A on our homework, right? So now let's look at our deductions. Deductions they gave us, they already added them up for us, are $33,300. Okay, so to get our taxable income, what are we going to have to do? We just simply subtract our deductions from our from our adjusted gross, and that gives us our taxable income, right? So subtract your deductions from the total income we've totaled up here, and that gives us our taxable income. Okay, so now that we have our taxable income, now we have to derive how much is she going to pay in taxes. Okay, well, if you go to this website, okay, so if we go to this website, I don't think I still have it open. Actually, I do. Okay, so just doing a quick calculation here. All right, so we're going to take her total taxable income that we derive right here, guys, and then we're going to go to this website. So let's see, I think I still have the website open. I do. So let me share this with you real quick, okay? So I can show you the calculations on this. Okay, guys. So what I did now, I'm on this website. I gave you the link. When it opens up, you're going to be at the top here like this, okay? Tara, you can see this, right? Okay, and you can find this, you can go to irs.gov and find this as well, guys, just called 2012 tax rate brackets or tax rate schedule. So I'm going to come on down here towards the bottom, and I'm going to look. So down here is the tax rate tables. Notice we have a few different categories here, okay? So we have Letitia, right? Letitia is unmarried, isn't she? So she's single. So do I want to go here? Married individuals? Nope. I want to come down here. Unmarried individuals, okay? So I'm going to take that taxable income that we just derived, and I'm going to look at where it fits in this chart. Okay? So her taxable income, I'll just give you a hint, it's more than 60,000, okay? More than 60,000. So for example purposes, to kind of get you rolling for week one, it's over 60,000. Okay? So we look at our taxable income and we say, okay, it's over 8,700 but not over 35. Is that Letitia? Nope. Letitia, or where are you at? You're down here. Over 35,350 but not over 85,650, right? Okay, this is where she's going to be at, isn't it? So I come over here and I figure out what my tax is. I'm going to take 25% of the excess over 3550. Okay, so all of our income that's over 3550, I'm going to tax at 25%. Okay, and when I do that, then I'm going to add 4867.50 to it. Okay, so Tara, are we done at that point? Okay, what else do we have to do? You can click your mic on and talk if you want to, if it's easier for you.
I didn't know if it was going to come out on the recording, but I know that you have to deduct Social Security, Medicare taxes as well.
Right, okay. In a more advanced case, you're exactly right, Tara, but in our case, we are good to go, so.
Okay, so we would add the 25% and then subtract what her income was minus the taxes.
Right, exactly. So you're going to take away, see, she's going to pay 25% of the excess over 35,350. So all of her income that's over 35,350, you're going to tax at 25% of that. Okay, then that's going to give you a number, and then you're going to add this 4,867.50 to it, and that's how you come up with your tax liability. Okay, does that make sense to everybody out there? All right, good deal, guys. So that's how you work it. That's how you work these tax schedules. Okay, deriving that taxable income. All right. Okay, let's go back and take a look at our homework template again. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this and go back in. Okay, so we've worked through part A. I gave you some information here as well on helping out with A. For part B, they want us to figure out what the marginal rate is. This is just simply the percentage rate you use to calculate Letitia's tax liability. Okay, that's from our tax rate schedule. So we've really already got that information as well, don't we? And also they want to know what the average rate is. Well, this is where you take the tax liability amount, the amount that we figured from above, divided by, I've got a little mistake there, should be 61,700. Okay, to get the effective rate, you take the tax liability amount again from above, divided by the 95,000 plus the 5,000 minus the 9,500. That's how you get the effective rate as well, the formula on that one. Okay, so it's not too bad to work on either, guys. Chapter 2 problems. I know we're pushing it on time here. Chapter 2 problems. They give you a couple more situations. The situation goes like this. They give you the individual's salary, all the interest, things of that nature. And they say in part A, calculate the taxable income, assuming that this person can't be claimed by anyone else for part A. Then part B, the same person, now assume that this person can be claimed by someone else. And what you're looking at, guys, is seeing how the taxable income changes based on whether you can claim yourself, in other words, exemption, or if someone else can claim you. Okay, that's the difference. And you're going to see part A, there's going to be a zero taxable income. Part B, there is going to be a taxable income because this person lost their personal exemption. Someone else is claiming them in part B. So they're taking that deduction. In other words, someone else is. And then for 239, guys, problem 239 is just practice trying to recognize you have clients coming in. Which tax form should they file? 1040Z, 1040, 1040A. And I left a couple of them on here just so you can see how it should work. And then also the number of exemptions that they can claim and if there's any child credit. Okay, so that form for 239 should help you out as well. Guys, any questions, concerns about any of that? Nope, good to go. All right. Okay, Tara, well, listen, it was great meeting with you. And if you ever have any questions, everyone else listening to the recording, you have any questions, concerns about anything, don't hesitate to contact me. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Best part of my job is getting to help everyone. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right, Tara. Everyone else, have a great day, and I will see you out there on the discussion boards. Okay. Yep. You too. Thank you.